Veterans represent the best in our country. They've made a selfless pledge of commitment, service, and sacrifice. Protecting this country is one of the greatest responsibilities a person can have, a deep-rooted calling of dedication. 30 years ago, I had the honor to serve. It was a privilege to wear the uniform of the United States and put on a Navy basketball jersey.
At center for the Navy midshipman, number 50, David Robinson.
Robinson with another block. He's taken over the game.
My time at Annapolis taught me leadership, integrity, and teamwork that paved the way for an improbable run to the Elite Eight. Tonight, the Navy midshipmen and the Pitt Panthers set sail on a new season.
Open for three, smash down.
Big time delivery. Count it. Impossible shot.
On the eve of Veterans Day, they played to honor all the service members that have put their lives on the line. We remember your sacrifice, and we play for you.
Well, David Robinson not only turned out to be one of the best basketball players here at the Naval Academy, but one of the best basketball players in the college game. We thank him for his help tonight in getting you ready for both games of the Veterans Classic. Game 1 is in the books, a resounding victory by Alabama. Game number 2 is upon us. That's right, the mids are settling in. That's because the midshipmen will welcome in the Pitt Panthers in game number 2 of the Veterans Classic doubleheader. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Steve Lapis. John Rothstein will join us in just a little bit. An excellent game number 1 for Alabama. Now we look to game number 2. We look at the Pitt Panthers. Much like Memphis, they have turned over almost all of their roster.
One of 6 teams in the country returning no starters from last year. So Kevin Stallings has redone his entire roster. As you can see here, 11 new guys have almost nothing back from last year, starting from scratch. And then when you get into the ACC with an inexperienced team, not going to be easy.
All right, they do have a special player, though, coming in. He's a point guard, Marcus Carr. They expect some great things from him.
Yeah, this kid's going to be terrific. He's going to have a lot of heat on him being a freshman, because not only is he going to have to set his team up, he's going to have to defend the other point guards, but this kid is a good, talented kid down the road, going to be a very good player.
All right, so now on the flip side for the Navy midshipmen. Last year they got to the semifinals of the Patriot League. Really had a very good season. They're the opposite. They got a lot of guys back from last year.
Well, Ed DeChellis has improved his win total every year he's been at Navy. Now he's got a very experienced team led by Sean Anderson. First team All-Patriot League in the preseason. This kid does everything for them. He's a terrific leader. He drives the ball to the basket. He rebounds it. He's not a real good three-point shooter, though he's improved on that. But when you're first team All-League and you're a senior, you're expected to lead the way. This team has experience, and I think they're coming out tonight looking for a win.
Looking for their first victory in the Veterans Classic. It'll be the Pitt Panthers against the midshipmen of Navy. Yeah, game number 1 is in the books. What will game number 2 have in store for us? Well, the home team is hoping for a victory. Pitt, meanwhile, is hoping for a brand new beginning. We'll be back right after this. The Maryland State House, located in downtown Annapolis, the oldest state capitol building in the United States, all part of a beautiful city here in Annapolis, Maryland. Well, Ed DeChellis getting his team rolling for tonight's game against Pitt. We visited him in the locker room moments ago.
Stay in your lane, fellas. Do your job. Stay in your lane. Do what you do. Don't come out of your lane. Don't show me what you can't do. Show me what you can do. Stay in your lane. Play hard. We expect to win the game. We expect to win the game. Let's go.
Well, in reality, Ed DeChellis does expect to win this ball game. The Penn State grad, who last year led his team to a 16-16 record, 68 wins overall. Last 2 years, though, 5 games over 500. That's what Lapp was talking about. Let's look at his starting lineup for tonight's ballgame. We mentioned he's got some veterans coming back. I mean, all you have to do is look at Abdullah, a junior, Doolin, a senior, Anderson, a senior, Lacey, a senior. you don't even have to worry about Wick. The first 4 guys, that's the veteran presence that he has coming into this ball game against Pitt. On the opposite side for the Pitt Panthers, well, they're going to start 2 freshmen, but these freshmen are going to have an impact. Stevenson being one, Stewart being the other, and of course we'll see Carr come off the bench. And don't forget Luther too. He is a transfer from Lafayette, and there is Kevin Stallings. Last year, 16-17, 4-14 in the ACC. Let's check in with John Rothstein. John? All right, so we're having a little mic difficulty with Johnny. We'll get back to him in just a moment. There is Hassan Abdullah, who John was talking about. Abdullah, 8.8 points per game is what he averaged. And obviously, if Navy's going to do anything, he has to have an impact in tonight's ball game. All right, so Lacey will jump center against Luther. As Lamar Simpson, the referee, will bring the basketball to midcourt. Mike Stevens, Mike Roberts, the other 2 officials, an excellent officiating crew, and we are underway. Game 2 of the Veterans Classic, and it will be the Pitt Panthers who control the basketball.
Navy comes out man-to-man, but I expect to see a lot of that matchup zone that Ed DeChellis likes to use.
Parker Stewart had it for a moment, then to Luther. Luther, who was injured last year against Navy while playing for Lafayette. Back to Milligan, shot clock at 5, traveling violation. Isn't that the way we started game 1 with a traveling violation?
We did, but you know, one of the things I was going to say about Pitt, they're so inexperienced. Milligan started 1 game in his career. Luther started 2 or 3 games in his career. So they have 4 starts in their careers, and these guys are both seniors.
Yeah, Luther's coming in with 324 points while playing for Lafayette, and it was a foot injury that caused him to miss a good portion of last year. 3-pointer from up top, and it's good. Well, there is Jared Wilson-Frame, who gets things rolling. The Panhandle Player of the Year in junior college, and he has his first bucket of the season.
6'5" junior, very good 3-point shooter at 24 points against Slippery Rock in their exhibition game.
Here's that 3-pointer, pull-up jumper.
Yeah, the hand is down. Sean Anderson's got to have his hand up, not down. You know, I used to tell kids, why you have your hand in his chest? He doesn't see with his chest, he sees with his eyes. You're supposed to put the hand in his face, not in his chest.
Here is Luther. I mentioned he was from Lafayette. That's Boykins, who's from Lafayette. Luther has been a presence here for Pitt, but he comes back with 324 points for the Panthers. Another 3 for Wilson-Frame. Well, that's a nice way to get your Division I career going.
Yeah.
6-0. Pitt is on top. Lacey with the ball, gives it off to Doolin. Doolin to the near side for Abdullah.
Wilson-Frame and Stevenson both played very well in the exhibition game. Stevenson, tough freshman from Canada.
There's Wick with the layup underneath. It's 6-2. Pitt is on top. Lacey with the near steal. Luther to the left corner. Wilson-Frame thought about it again, but then puts it on the floor. Up top for Stevenson for 3, and it's no good off the side of the rim.
You know, when you think about Kevin Stallings as a coach, you know what I always think about first? 3-point shooting. His teams are always amongst the best 3-point shooting teams in the country when he was at Vanderbilt.
Ball's knocked out of bounds. It will remain Navy basketball. This is the second 3 from Wilson-Frame. Boy, he is a powerful body.
Powerful. I saw the Slippery Rock tape, but you know, you gather a lot more when you see a guy live.
Absolutely. Abdullah up top between the rings. 10 on the shot clock. It did not reset when the ball went out of bounds. Shot clock down to 5. Anderson called for the traveling violation as he tried to slip through 2 defenders.
That was very good defense by Pitt that time, giving good help but forced that turnover.
By the way, the one thing that stands out with Pitt when you do watch them, they've come into this season in very good shape as a team, individually and collectively. Here's Milligan. Stevenson over to Stewart. Stewart, the freshman from Union City, Tennessee. Stevenson left side of the lane, kicks it out for Luther. Shot clock is down to 2. Luther doesn't realize it. Gets up to Milligan, who lets it go, and it's no good. And the rebound by Lacey, and a foul called against Stevenson. Let's take a look at your keys to the game.
Well, for Pitt transition baskets, you don't want to have to set up against that defense all the time, and they need a good game from Jonathan Milligan. Obviously, the senior's only started once in his career. For Navy, get some easy baskets. They're going to, if they have to set up this entire game, they're going to struggle to score, and they have to rebound outside of that matchup zone. Sometimes matchup zones can be tough to rebound out of. They've got to at least do a job on the defensive glass.
Navy down by 4. Anderson with the basketball up top. Stevenson with some quick hands, nearly deflected it into a turnover, but Doolin for 3 from the left wing.
Well, he's been their best three-point shooter. He also was an all-defensive player in the Patriot League last year.
6-5, Pitt's lead is at 1. Both teams will have substitutions at the next whistle. The deflection and the turnover forced by the midshipmen. Doolin again, one-on-one with Stevenson off the glass, and Navy takes its first lead. 7-6, the midshipmen on top.
And they like going from this 1-2-2 3/4 court trap into that matchup zone. Let's see how Pitt handles this.
Wilson Frame with a quick release, no good. And Anderson with the rebound. He got good position on the outside, on the other side, but against Luther.
Had no chance of getting through.
Stevenson able to pick it off, heads toward the basket, foul going up with 16:09 to play. Well, give credit to Doolin. He got his feet set for this one.
He was ready to jack that one up. He's their best three-point shooter.
And then he answers again with a 2-point field goal. Here's Stevenson to the free throw line. Stevenson had 16 points, 8 rebounds against Slippery Rock. And he misses the first free throw. Norris Fox checks into the ball game, so does George Kiernan. Marcus Carr checks in for the first time, the freshman from Toronto. There he is. Talked about him during the Open. I'm excited to see him play.
Well, they've got 3 freshmen in the game right now, Pitt.
Second free throw is good. Stevenson will check out. As Kenna Chikwuka will check into the ball game for the first time. 7-7 with 16:05 to play here in the first half. Kiernan faces up. Now to Anderson. Ball is deflected by Stewart. Doolin, pull-up jumper, no good off the side of the rim. Anderson with the rebound. Through a double team, he's fouled going up. Well, 15:51 to play here in the first half. We're all tied up at 7. Second game of our Veterans Classic. One of the great things about coming to the Veterans Classic is visiting Ted Carter's house, the superintendent of the Navy, as he presented the coaches with their swords. The sword ceremony last night. And there is Kevin Stallings receiving his. It's another unique tradition here at the Veterans Classic. Kevin Stallings, as we mentioned, in his second season after a very successful, beyond successful run at Vanderbilt.
That's not an easy place. Great academic school, tough league, and he did a great job there. A number of guys playing the NBA. And as I said, a guy who's known for his motion offense, making threes, had some terrific offensive teams at Vanderbilt. Not to say they don't guard, but really good offensive teams.
Most wins in school history at Vanderbilt overall, 471 wins, 9 trips to the NCAA tournament during his coaching career. As Anderson makes both free throws, and it's now 9-7 Navy on top, and again a little pressure by the midshipmen. Marcus Carr running the point, trying to get it across the timeline, and just barely does. Wilson Frame, he's got a couple of threes. Chikwuka tries to feed it inside. It's cut off, and Navy forces the turnover. Here's Norris Fox. He'll run the point when Abdullah's not in. Lacey, right side of the lane, leading off the side of the rim, no good, and the ball out of bounds. And it will remain Navy basketball.
You know, Tom, we said I've been here for, this is my 4th year of doing these games, and every year Navy gives the team they play fits. They gave Michigan State fits. They gave last year I'm trying to remember who they gave Fitz to. But teams always come in this first game of the year and struggle against that matchup zone in the half court.
Ball is stolen. Here is Wilson Frame in the open floor. A nice, gentle slam. Tied up at 9. This is the guy that last year 25 times was in double figures. He had 981 points in 2 years as a junior college player. Here's Kiernan for 3. It's good. Rattle it home. 12-9. Navy on top.
Kiernan was terrific for them off the bench last year.
He had 45 3-pointers, which was second on the team. 4th on the team in scoring. Marcus Carr slices through the defense. Luther up top. Now Wilson Frame again for 3. He certainly isn't shy, is he?
No, but that's really good defense. This matchup zone now is starting to find people. Pitt not doing a lot of movement that time on offense. They have to start moving around a little bit more.
Lacey into the paint, drawing the defense. They swing it up across the top of the perimeter. Nearly 6 minutes gone by here in the first half.
And look at the patience that Navy running their offense.
Yep. Cam Davis had an open look at that 3, couldn't convert. Wilson Frame tripped as he's going to the hoop. Wilson Frame comes in with a big body after 2 years as a junior college player.
Yeah, this is great anticipation there.
Kevin Stallings was saying at the beginning of the year as he checks out, he goes, listen, he has some bad habits that need to be broken, but he's a good player. And I guess any player coming into Division I level for the first time has some habits that need to be broken.
Well, and his name definitely fits him. I don't know about Wilson Frame, but he's a wide frame.
Pittsburgh will inbound the basketball along the baseline. Monty Boykins in for the first time. He's the transfer from
Great
Lafayette.
play.
Yep.
Travel.
And the traveling violation.
And that was a typical Kevin Stallings out of bounds play. Back screen, layup, travel though.
Well, 4 turnovers for each team. Navy with a 3-point lead.
And they are going to be so patient in the half court. And a lot of times that's what young players struggle with. Wow.
That lacked some patience, but it certainly didn't lack for trajectory.
That wasn't an easy shot, but I was going to say, Tom, that a lot of times young players struggle with staying disciplined defensively in the half court. And these Pitt young kids are going to have to stay disciplined because Navy's going to be very patient in the half court set, as we've seen so far.
6-point lead. Stewart up top. Matchup zone again by Navy.
Everybody's got a man. This is basically man-to-man defense, but they try to make it look like a zone.
Abdullah off the rebounds.
Great pass
by Cam Davis, and the feed inside to Lacey. And a timeout called by Pitt. It's an 8-point lead for the Naval Academy. 13:03 to play here in the second half. Navy on top of Pitt. Midshipman on top 17-9. You like this defense and this feed here?
Well, it's a confounding defense. You're not used to playing against it. Look at here. That's why it's called a matchup zone. Everybody's got somebody. So it's really like a man-to-man, but you're trying to make the other team think that you're in a zone so that they'll stand around a lot more and not screen. And right now, that's what Pitt is doing in their half-court offense.
And then the feed on the opposite end offensively. They've had some really good offensive plays. Pitt with the ball, down by 8 off the timeout.
And here it is. Everybody's got their hands up, so it looks like a zone. But no, everybody's got a guy. They're pointing, talking. They're being very active. That's what you have to do with this defense. You must be active in terms of communicating with your teammates, cutters, people coming around. That's what's important. That was a good shot by Marcus Carr.
Yeah, with two on the shot clock.
Important guy.
It's a 5-point game.
He didn't start the game. We talked about him in the open, but he's the key to the season for this team because he's the kid with the talent at the point guard spot.
Played last year for Kevin Boyle at Montverde Academy. Had a foul called against Kiernan. That's his second personal foul. 17-12, Navy on top by 5. Stevenson will check back in. Chukwuka will check out for Pitt.
By the way, we got like a Final Four refereeing crew here.
Yeah, we do. You mentioned that. That's a good crew with Lamar Simpson as the referee, Mike Stevens, Mike Roberts, the other two officials. Davis up top to Boykins. Back to Carr. Carr launches another three. Wow. It's good. Back-to-back threes. Not afraid to shoot with an awful lot of confidence.
I mean, that's a freshman there. They started Milligan, but this is the kid I think that's going to have to get it done for them to have a successful season.
Doolin covered by Davis. Under 12 minutes to play in the first half. No look pass to the left corner. It's Ryan Pearson who's in for the first time. He wears number 5. Shot clock at 7. Abdul lost it to the baseline, gets it back thanks to Lacey, and it's off the glass and good.
Wow.
And now Pitt, 9 of their 10 field goal attempts have been beyond the arc. Boykins for 3. That's an air ball. And here comes Doolin up the far side. Mo Lewis, the 4th, will check in at the next stoppage of play for the Naval Academy. Pearson and Lacey playing a 2-man game. Doolin for 3, no good. Yeah, the rebound taken off the floor by Monty Boykins. Boykins feeds it down low to Luther. And Luther in the paint over the top of Tom Lacey.
10 of their 11 field goal attempts, as you said, Tom, with 3s prior to that. And that's what that zone will do. It'll make you kind of fall in love with the three-point shot. You got to still try to take it into the lane.
I think you talked about that even in the first game, that you've got to somehow take it into the lane.
Yeah, I mean, Pitt's a better three-point shooting team than Memphis is. We've seen that already. But, yes, you do have to do both.
All right, Marcus Carr did not start for Pitt, but he certainly has come off the bench and has had an impact for the Panthers.
He's had a big impact. I like the way this freshman looks.
My grandfather was actually in the Navy. My uncle Vernon, is also a Master Chief in the Navy. He's current. He's at sea right now. Both my grandfather and my uncle were major influences in my life. So they taught me a lot about discipline and having integrity and being committed to the things that you set out to do. So those are the things and traits that I carry with me all through my adult life and my childhood.
Well, I got to tell you, that's one of the better descriptions that you're going to hear from Jonathan Milligan about his respect for the military based on his family members, a senior administration of justice major out of Orlando, Florida, in Kilgore College.
Tremendous soundbite that was.
Awesome. Here's Abdullah, separation from Carr, but he can't convert. Stevenson with the rebound. That may have raised the roof a little bit if he had converted. And Brown finishes on the opposite ends. Terrell Brown out of Providence, Rhode Island, off of this miss by Abdullah. Oh, man.
Oh, shook to the floor, they call that. But you know what? He shoots the air ball, and then Marcus Carr, who got shook, comes back with a tremendous pass to Brown. I like the way this kid Carr is looking right now. 2 threes, great pass.
Brown, the freshman, gets a nice big bunny hop off the back of the iron.
Strong body. Lot bigger than I thought.
20-19, Pitt has taken the lead halfway through the first half. Doolin looking for a cutting Anderson. Anderson covered by Wilson Frame. Doolin, nice move to get some freedom, but he can't convert. Second straight time that Navy made the right move, but couldn't get the bucket to go down.
Seems to be a little more bounce. I was going to say a little more bounce in their step, and then he travels.
Get inside the mind of the most important position in sports as our roster of former pro quarterbacks break down the Week 10 in the NFL. NFL Monday QB delivered by FedEx. Monday at 6 Eastern right here on CBS Sports Network. 9.5 to play here in the first half. 1-point lead for Pitt. Pitt 7 for 13, 4 of 10 from beyond the arc. Navy meanwhile 7 of 14 and 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Abdullah with a good pass. The second shot was good by Mo Lewis, the 4th. Boy, he has gotten bigger and bigger this last year or so.
And a lot better.
Yep. Carr peeking in, not much there. Goes up top to Davis. Davis down the left side of the lane. And Stevenson is fouled by Mo Lewis.
This is just, he wills this in the basket. With the nice finish with the left hand. That's a good foul.
Yeah, he had the block there, but he is called for the foul. Mo's dad played for the New York Jets. He was a former linebacker, played in only 5 games last year, as Stevenson converts the first free throw.
Well, it's funny because I didn't even have him in my chart when we talked to until we talked to Matt today, the SID, who said, no, Mo Lewis is going to be a guy you might not have in your chart, but he's going to play.
Stevenson's second free throw, and it's no good. So we're tied up at 21. In what has really been a very entertaining first half so far. Doolin left sideline. Anderson cutting left side of the lane. Back to Doolin. Quick release. Shot no good. Fouled, though, by Davis. So he'll get 3 free throws. Well, this Pitt Panthers team, John, we've talked about it. The roster has really turned over since Kevin Stallings took over.
No, it definitely has, Tom. And you always talk about in sports never wanting to be the guy that follows the guy. In 13 years as head coach of Pitt, Jamie Dixon went to 11 NCAA tournaments and averaged 25.2 wins per season. That is a high bar.
That's a big-time bar. As we mentioned, Kevin Stallings had an excellent career at Vanderbilt. Second shot by Doolin. It's good. He'll get one more. Davis checks out. Parker Stewart checks back in for Pitt. Abdullah checks out. Norris Fox checks back in. And now Doolin for his 8th point of the night. That is good.
Was John saying that Kevin Stallings should have followed Jamie Dixon?
I think he was just laying it out. It is hard to follow a quote-unquote legend or success.
But he followed Ben Holland, who was. Now, I'm not saying he was there. Ben wasn't there long. He's the one who got it going. He wasn't there long enough to really be that, but it's not an easy follow, that's for sure.
There's Bill to get up top.
And you see what Jamie Dixon's doing at TCU. They're probably an NCAA tournament team this year.
Yeah, you'll see them later on this year.
Yes, I'll have them in 2 weeks.
At the Emerald Classic here on CBS Sports Network. Terrell Brown.
That's another point of emphasis this year. They want to get traveling. Now, that was an easy travel. That wasn't the hard one, but they would have called that traveling 30 years ago. But they want to get some of these travelings cleaned up now, too. Great pass.
Yep, here's Mo Lewis laying it in off the pass from Tom Lacey. Lacey, the senior out of Glen Ridge, New Jersey, Seton Hall Prep. He's given the midshipmen a 5-point lead. Stewart tried to answer but cannot. Here's Anderson off the rebound, running the length of the floor to the corner for Doolin. And Doolin forces his way off the glass. No good. Luther with the rebound. I like Navy's ball movement.
Yeah, they always, one thing, they are always well schooled. They will move the ball, good spacing. But you know, this Pitt team offensively is really moving the ball also.
They are. Luther misses. The first shot, the second shot, the third one, though, is Lucky Charm. 26-23.
But you can see what Ed DeChellis is doing with Abdullah. He's been taking him out, resting him, trying to get him as many rests as possible because he's really an indispensable guy for them, and he's been hurt.
Yeah, he's been battling a hip flexor injury. He had hip surgery earlier in his career. Well, Lewis down low again, leaves it for Lacey. Shot clock is at 5, and Doolin is bumped by Stewart. Well, Navy has maintained its lead. It's only 3, 26-23. We'll be back to Annapolis right after this. College basketball continues Sunday at 6 Eastern as the Princeton Tigers travel to one of the greatest venues in the sport, historic Hinkle Fieldhouse, to take on the Butler Bulldogs, only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. A couple of guys to take a look at. Keelan Martin seems like he's been around forever for Butler. Miles Stevens helping Mitch Henderson's team to different heights, obviously, the last couple of years. Well, we talk about Princeton's motion. How about Navy's motion so far?
Well, they're doing a great job of using screens to get themselves open. And we used to tell kids all the time, the more screens you set, the more shots you get. Now look at this miscommunication here. There was a hedge out here on the screen, but nobody gets back to the guy who set the screen. So who is the forgotten man? The screener. We told kids, the more screens you set, the more shots you get. Why? Because when you set a screen, who's everybody worried about? The guy you're screening for. Who do they forget? You. You will get a shot if you set a lot of screens. That was a great screen, and it resulted in a basket for the screener.
Well, Navy so far 9 of 18 from the floor. Pitt is 8 of 16 from the floor. So far, a fairly evenly matched game. Anderson up top to Lacey. Doolin for 3. He does have a quick trigger. Lacey with the offensive board. He did that a lot last year. Cannot convert. And Luther with the rebound.
You know, the one thing you see when you see experienced teams like Navy, they're going to run their stuff. But I give Pitt credit. Pitt is running pretty good half-court offense. I'll tell you that.
Well, you talked about Kevin Stallings in the motion offense.
He's a terrific offensive coach. He always has been.
Shot clock is under 10. Luther was open for 3, puts it on the floor, and leans it from inside the paint, and Lacey with the rebound.
I'm surprised Doolin didn't jack that one.
I thought he was ready to fire. Norris Fox now to Anderson. Anderson to the basket. Whoa, what a tough shot that was. If only because his head was facing the other way.
That's Sean Anderson. That's what he does. He's an attacker. Not a three-point shooter, but around that basket, he's really tough. Shoots a lot of free throws.
Abdullah is going to check back into the ballgame, the next stoppage of play. Stewart, high post to Luther. Little motion offense to Carr. Shot clock at 10, Carr for 3. It's good. That's his third 3. They're calling it a 2 right now. I thought his feet were behind the line.
Yeah, you know, I didn't get a good look at it, Tom.
But right now it's a 2-point game, 28-26. Marcus Carr has not been afraid. He certainly has confidence in his shot. Stewart covers Doolin. Anderson covered by Wilson Frame. Puts it on the floor into the paint. Little misdirection with some steps. And he's blocked from behind. The ball is loose out of bounds. It'll be Pitt basketball. All right, here's Carr's jumper. Is it a 2 or a 3? Take a peek.
Well, he does the step back. That's 3.
I think that's a 3.
That's a 3.
Gives me more confidence in my eyesight.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Tom, because I'll be honest with you, I don't even... You must have some refereeing you, because I don't know. Why would you look at his feet right away? I don't know. I don't look at his feet right away, but I guess, you know, I go by the ref. He says it's a 3, it's a 3. We got to look at it. We got to look at it. I guess you want to be a referee.
I was waiting for Rothstein to put his arms up because he was closer to it than we were. 28-25. Stevenson, little out of control, but hey, you got enough spin and enough touch. It's going to go down.
That's a tough finish. I mean, he's got like a 40-inch vertical. He can shoot threes.
From the left corner, that 2-point field goal is good. Cam Davis, the freshman from Battlefield, Missouri.
They're very high on him.
He's eventually, they think, going to be the point guard for this team once Abdullah leaves. And an offensive foul is called on Shamil Stevenson.
That's an easy call. Nice finish there. And then the next play, bowls his man over.
Navy's lead is at 3, 4:29 to play here in the first half. There's Cam Davis bringing the ball up. Abdullah is off in the left corner, number 2. He now has it. He's normally the point guard. Off the high screen from Wick. Wick got deep. Slide to the basket, partially blocked, knocked out of bounds by Lacey. It'll be Pitt ball. 4:08 to play here in the first half. Little different game for Ed DeChellis and for Kevin Stallings than our first game. Good shooting percentages for both in this first half.
Yes, absolutely. You know, these teams are really executing very well, running their stuff. They look like they're in midseason form.
Honestly, they do.
They do. The first game, we didn't see that.
We'll try to go backdoor with Wilson Frame. Instead, it's Carr up top. Shot clock is at 5. Carr off the backboard, no good, out of bounds, and it will remain Pitt ball. They'll have 2 seconds on the shot clock when we come back. Navy on top by 3, 30-27. Lamar Simpson is the referee. He's still looking at the Marcus Carr 2-point field goal to see if it should be a 3. We think it should be a 3. Take a peek at where his right foot is. It's beyond the line.
Yeah, I think, you know.
It's close, but it's beyond the line.
Yeah, they just gave it a 3.
Right there, we blew it up. And I actually think they signaled 2, Lap, and I think the replay has called them back and told them to take a look at the last shot we just showed where it was blown up.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think Lamar signaled a 2, and then the gentleman to the left called him back because we just showed a different replay. Watch it right here as we blow it up. So he's ahead of the line there, and now he's back right there.
Yeah, that's a 3.
That's a 3, but if you watch, see how it's blown up? So that is a 3-point field goal.
I don't know, they're still not.
They're not totally so. Yep, there it is. They just signaled 3.
Yeah.
All right, so they did get it right. So now it's 30-28. Navy's lead is 2. See, that's progress right there, Lap. We just showed progress as
that
the
is
score
progress.
changed. Yeah. What do we do without replay? I mean, when you were coaching,
there was no
replay.
Not only was there no replay, I got burnt on a game that cost us an NCAA tournament bid when a guy at Miami made a shot when Miami was top 10 in the country, made a shot after the buzzer. At that time, you couldn't look at the monitor to see if it beat the clock. And they changed the rule the next week. Tom, because of the controversy behind us losing a game it was a clear second after the buzzer on top of it.
I don't want to make you feel better enough, but that's progress. You have helped make progress.
You know what they asked me the next week? They said, what do you think about the rule being changed? I said, well, it's better to have won and lost than to never have won at all. That's what I said. True story.
Oh, 2 on the
True
shot
story.
clock.
Yeah.
As Pitt will inbound to Luther from the baseline off the side of the rim, no good.
Not love and lost, won and lost.
Here's Abdullah, left side of the lane. Henderson underneath off the glass. It's good. 32-28 Navy. You can see that they've played a lot of games together.
They're playing like a veteran team. They know what they want to do. They're not nervous. You know what I mean? They're digging in on every play. And right now, I like the poise I'm seeing from Pitt at the moment. Because this is a true road game. And when you're starting all new guys, you don't want to start out on the road. This kid's tough.
Yeah, Wilson Frame with that thick upper body is able to power his way to the basket. And he has 8 points in the first half. 8 different players have scored for the midshipmen. Wick got 3 guys off their feet. And now a timeout called, I believe. Or was that a warning? Is Kevin Stallings given a warning? I believe that's what it was. Substitution for Pitt. Stewart will check out. Davis back in.
Hey, this is a really good crew, but I'm telling you now, you don't mess with these guys.
No.
they don't have short fuses. They're fair, but don't mess with them.
That's a nice move for a big man. It's one of those that you look at and you show some of your big men on the high school level.
Charge.
And Doolin does take the charge.
But take a look. That's great rotation by your defense to step in there. He was a weak side defender. He gets outside the restricted area quickly, and he does that.
8 turnovers now for Pitt. Four-point lead. Kevin Stallings is working Lamar Simpson on the sidelines. Lamar just said, watch it, watch it. Doolin off the screen, little trap. Abdullah looks up at the shot clock. Slices through a couple defenders, no look pass. Doolin for 3, good. Well, that's some really good ball movement.
Yeah, they make the extra pass, but you know how it started, Tom? It started with the dribble penetration by Abdullah. He's the one that made the defense crack. They just made him pay with the extra pass, but Abdullah started that chain reaction.
37-30, Navy on top. Here's Carr for 3, and he's fouled by Abdullah. So he'll get 3 free throws. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Brent Stover, Pete Gillen, and Gary Parrish are in New York. They'll cover all the bases on the news and highlights of the first day of the college basketball season. Plus, Dana Jacobson and Wally Zerbiak will get you ready for the second half from down here in Annapolis. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half. Carr's first free throw is good. Marcus Carr has reached double digits already after not starting. Second shot is good. What do you got, John Rothstein?
Oh, you mentioned Tom. Marcus Carr off to a great start tonight. Talking to the Pitt staff before the game, they think Marcus is very similar in mold to former Pitt point guard James Robinson with a little more offense. So a great future ahead for Marcus Carr at Pittsburgh, Tom.
Yeah, Kevin Stallings had said that he was separating himself from Jonathan Milligan, but Milligan did get the start. The luxury is that Milligan could play the 2-guard position as well. Doolin pull-up jumper. It's no good. Now the Panthers with the rebound. 4-point lead for Navy. Carr with 12 points. He leads the way for the Panthers. Wilson Frame is right behind him with 10. Luther running hook shot. It's good. He's got that shot down.
Yes, he does. You know, but he likes that right hand going to the left shoulder. They got to take that shoulder away.
Down to a 2-point lead for Navy. One thing is for certain, we are going to have ourselves a ball game in the second half. Doolin into the paint, falling to the floor. Ball is tipped up and saved by Davis. Now Carr thought about a 3 and a double dribble and a carry.
Or one or the other.
Yeah, it could have been either one.
Oh, I don't know if he touched it. I don't know if he touched it with his right hand.
Oh, I think you're right.
I don't think he touched it.
That was close to not being a carry.
That was faked out the whole building.
Yeah. Timeout called by Navy. 51.4 to play. Your use it or lose it timeout for the midshipmen. We'll be back right after this. 37-35, Navy on top of Pitt. All right, Lap, so Ed DeChellis asked for the timeout. What is he going to try to do here with 51.4 to play?
Well, I think it's very important for him to try and get out of this half with this lead. They've really worked for it in terms of them being able to get it is very, very important. They want to make sure they have a very, very good possession here to use the entire shot clock if they have to get something good. But if they get something good early, they'll take it. Maybe they even want to go 2 for 1, which people don't do that much in college. Get a shot off in the first 6 seconds and then get the last possession of the half. They could do that too.
Cam Davis, a freshman, is in the ball game. He's in the off-guard position with Norris Fox. Here's Anderson, right side of the lane. Davis entry pass to Wick. Shot clock at 10. Fox into the paint, leading to the basket, lays it in. Not sure if that was the easiest of shots, but it turned out to be a good bucket.
Well, there's an example of Pitt playing really good defense for the bulk of the shot clock and then just breaking down in the last few seconds. That's where you've got to keep your discipline strong.
39-35, 18 seconds to play here in the first half. There's a difference of about a second between shot clock and game clock.
Well, they want to take the last shot.
Wilson Frame for 3. Boy, the 2 freshmen for Pitt, or the 2 first-year players for Pitt, have really looked comfortable. And it's a 1-point lead for Navy, 39-38. The junior Wilson Frame with 13 points. That leads the Panthers. Marcus Carr has 12. Meanwhile, Doolin leads the way for Navy with 11 points, and the midshipmen have a 1-point lead, 39-38. John Rothstein is with Ed DeChellis.
Well, Coach, you've built a nice lead here in the first half, considering you're playing an ACC opponent. How do you continue to make your experience a big factor down the stretch?
Well, I think, John, offensively, we got to be more patient. I thought we took some rush shots. We just, we got to settle down a little bit offensively. I thought defensively we were doing a pretty good job. We had a bad foul there. We gave him a 3-point on a 3-point shot. But overall, I think our defense is pretty solid. I think we're rebounding the ball on both ends. And now we got to slow down a little bit offensively.
Thanks. Good luck in the second half.
All right. Thank you.
Tom.
All right, John. Thank you very much. Navy with a 1-point lead over Pitt. That's the end of the first half. After the break, we'll send you to Brent and the gang in New York. You're watching the Veterans Classic on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Well, it's a beautiful night outside. Inside, it's turned out to be a heck of a ball game. Navy on top of Pitt 39-38 as we get set for the second half. Along with Steve Lapis and John Rothstein, I'm Tom McCarthy. I think the one thing that stands out to me, I don't know how you feel about this, Lap, but Navy does look like a seasoned team. It looks like they know exactly where each other is on the floor.
Well, just look at the fact they have 13 assists on 15 baskets, only 6 turnovers. So that's an over 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio in the first game of the season. So this team is really playing like a seasoned team that's played together for a long time. Now, Pitt's not playing bad by any means.
Not at all.
Matter of fact, Pitt looks like they have all new guys, and they look pretty cohesive tonight themselves. So right now we've got a really good ball game with very good execution on both ends of the floor.
All right, so let's take a look at this first half statistics for both of these teams. Navy 15 of 30 from the floor. As you mentioned, 13 assists, but for Pitt, not too shabby as well. Let's take a look at some of the offensive maneuvering for the Navy midshipmen.
Well, Navy's playing very patient when they're in the half court. They're running when they have a chance, but when they're going to play half court, they're going to move the ball and really work it around. They've reversed the ball from side to side a lot in this game, which is the sign of good offense. And as we talked about already, multiple assists from a lot of different people. They are playing very well together. But Jared Wilson-Frame, in his first game, junior college kid, really playing well. Terrific three-point shooter. Very, very strong body. Even makes plays on the defensive end. He is really, really helping Kevin Stalling a lot, as is Marcus Carr, the freshman, who's doing terrific also.
All right, speaking of Kevin Stallings, John Rothstein had a chance to catch up with the coach. John?
Well, Tom, Kevin Stallings just told me that the big thing he talked about at halftime was improving Pitt's rim protection. He felt like Navy was too much on Pitt's side of the glass. He thought they did a great job attacking Pitt's defensive backboard. Pitt needs to get stronger defensively at the rim in the second half to have a chance to come away with a road win, Tom.
Yeah, not only defending the boards because they were out-rebounded 15-12, Pitt was, but also just defending the shot. As we mentioned, Navy shot 50% in the first half. All right, so the second half is underway. Navy with the basketball at a 1-point lead. Navy has never won in the previous 3 Veterans Classics as Abdullah converts with a three-pointer right out of the game.
And the ball, as you saw in that possession, went to one side, to the other, and back again. They reversed the ball from corner to corner twice in one possession. That makes it very hard for a defense to guard because they spread you out.
Davis inside for Wilson-Frame. Off the glass, no good. Real tough angle. He didn't have a lot of height to it. By the way, Marcus Carr starting the second half for Pitt. Abdullah down low to Wick. Wick outside for Doolin. Abdullah again for 3, no good. The rebound by Stevenson. Stevenson to the corner for Wilson-Frame for 3, no good. Second shot off the mark in this half. So 1 minute into the second half, Navy maintains the lead. They're up by 4. Here in the background, Ed DiCello say, swing it, swing it. They go inside to Wick, and Wick, or excuse me, to Lacey, and Lacey had some room, but just couldn't convert. Luther, Carr, Stevenson, Davis, and Wilson-Frame, the starters in the second half for the Panthers. Carr with 12 points in the first half. Shot clock is at 7. Luther down low with the shot clock at 4. Backing his way in. Shot clock is at 2. Turnaround jumper, no good. Partially blocked by Lacey, and here comes Anderson. Abdullah for 3. Good! You know, he was able to take a few breathers in the first half, and that may keep him fresh here in the second half.
And the one thing really he hasn't been throughout most of his career is a solid three-point shooter. Really good tonight.
48 three-pointers last year for Abdullah. A chemistry major here at the Naval Academy, and now the steal and a quick foul. Marcus Carr called for the foul. It seems like Abdullah's come out with their mindset to shoot.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, but Sean Anderson knows to give him that little shovel pass because he's in rhythm running in transition, and he shot that with a lot of confidence.
8 points for Abdullah.
But I'm impressed with the ball. Here's another ball reversal and another three.
Yep, Doolin misses, and the rebound by Luther, but he had an open look. Now Carr, pull-up three-pointer off the side of the rim. Actually, that may not even hit the rim. It's out of bounds.
I'm very impressed with the way Navy is getting the ball passed from corner to corner to corner. Nothing is harder for a defense to guard than when they have to guard the entire 50 feet of the width of the court. And that's what Navy is doing now, making Pitt guard 50 feet. Not 35, not 40, 50.
Abdullah again for three, no good. And Davis loses the rebound, but it's picked up by Stevenson.
That wasn't a good shot.
No. And Stevenson bumps in, and a blocking foul is called on George Kiernan. That's his third personal foul.
His third, team first.
And Stevenson will go to the free throw line. Shamil Stevenson, the freshman from Hillcrest Prep in Arizona, out of Canada. Averaged over 14 points per game last year, 38% from three, and misses the free throw.
I think Pitt's going to have to grind this game out because I don't think that they can force Navy into multiple mistakes, turnovers into baskets. I don't think they can do it.
Particularly with a lead.
Too seasoned, too smart. They might, they're going to miss some shots, and then Pitt's got to look to go. But I think Pitt's going to have to grind this thing out in the half court offensively against this team.
17 minutes to play in the second half. Kiernan up top, traveling violation. It was hard to tell whether he picked his pivot foot up or not. Watch him dance it a little bit up top. Yeah, a little bit advanced, just a little bit. That's what you're talking about capitalizing if you're the Panthers, and Kiernan called for another foul. That's his fourth personal foul, so he's going to check out. Mo Lewis will check in for the first time in this half. Second team foul for the midshipmen. Wilson frame way downtown, no good. Well, Pitt is having a little trouble shooting in this half. They're 0 for 5. Anderson trying to force the action off the glass, no good. Loose ball, Lewis leaves it through his legs, picked up by Carr. Carr's got some numbers. Little hesitation up top, off the glass, no good. It just slipped out of his hand. Not as crisp an offensive half.
No, on either side.
No. Navy is 2 of 7 from the floor. You see what Pitt is, 0 for 6 in the second half. Doolin from the elbow.
He's been firing all night.
And a foul on Abdullah. Well, we'll see if we can regroup offensively and defensively when we come back.
Well, I think the feeling here around Annapolis during Veterans Day weekend is pretty special. I mean, the academies here, we have so many veterans that live in the area, especially with the Vet Classic here in the weekend and the teams involved. So I think it's an exciting time around Annapolis.
Well, it's a great way for all of us to kick off the 2017-18 college basketball season. We've enjoyed our time each and every year here at the Veterans Classic, and you see Ed DeChellis, he's enjoyed the last couple of years. There's been a drastic improvement over the last 3 seasons of Navy basketball.
I would say, and let's face it, this next step would really be a huge step because obviously you're going to 11-7 or 12-6 in the league, which they have the potential to do.
Yeah, Bucknell is the leader of the pack in the Patriot League. That's who they lost to in the semifinals last year. Pitt has scored 1 point in the last 3 minutes and change. Stewart in with the shot clock winding down. Still double digits. Milligan, left side of the lane, off the glass, no good. And a rebound pulled down by Mo Lewis. 0 for 7 now from the floor to begin the second half.
You know, it looked like a much better set, but didn't result in anything.
See the field goals for each team. Here's Lacey, and that one just barely grazes the bucket. Well, Navy has been able to convert a couple of threes.
I mean, 6 for 13 from the three-point line tonight. Obviously, that one was kind of off of a fumble, but all the other ones really were inside outs, people driving it and kicking it, doing a good job of finding the open guy.
Yeah, each team has 6 made three-pointers in this ball game. Whistle blows and a foul called. I think Lacey may have moved his feet.
Baseline, guys, baseline. Heavy foul, number 20, Sean Anderson.
Actually, it's Sean Anderson who they'll call for the foul. That's his second, team's fourth. Doolin will check out. Back in is Cam Davis, the freshman. Bounce goes to Davis. Well, it's an understatement to say that Pitt needs a bucket here. Here's Stewart for 3. No good off the back of the rim. Rebound by Luther out of bounds. It'll be Navy basketball. 0 for 8 from the floor in the second half. And getting some decent looks.
No, getting some decent looks. That was a pretty well contested one. The thing that this Navy defense is doing with this matchup zone is they're not allowing any dribble penetration at all.
Norris Fox in, running the point. Here's Anderson up top. Off the high screen by Lewis. Anderson a little curl under the basket, slips it to Wick. Boy, Fox had an open 3, decided not to take it. Anderson for 3, good.
Wow, he doesn't do that much.
That's 9 points now for Anderson.
21% from the three-point line last year.
Yeah, he's really more of a driver than anything else. He has over 900 points in his career. Will go over 1,000 points this season.
A lot of drives and a lot of free throws.
48-39, Navy on top of Pitt. Stewart for 3, right corner. It's no good, and the drought continues for the Panthers. Well, again, a little extra ball movement by Navy led to the Anderson three-pointer.
Yeah, this is just that little extra pass. Pitt not doing a good job of getting to a guy that they don't think is a good shooter, but this is Division I. You still got to get to him. He's the best player. Right now, Pitt cannot find anywhere to get a basket. Wilson, Frame, and Carr, who did it in the first half, nowhere to be found. Wilson, Frame not in the game right now.
Maybe trying to make this a double-digit lead. This is the largest lead of the night for them, for either team. Shot clock under 10. Fox resets things outside. Shot clock is under 5. Corner jumper is no good, and Stevenson with the board. Stewart to the baseline. Luther for 3, no good again. 0 for 10 in the second half. I think we said this a lot in the first half, that Alabama was fortunate that they were down by so few points because of all the fouls they had in the first half. I think the same can be said really for Pitt, although now it's an 11-point deficit.
No doubt about it. And this Mo Lewis is really giving him a big lift off the bench. A guy who didn't play at all last year.
Yeah, physically much stronger than he was last year.
They're very active in this zone. Look how they're all pointing and looking behind them.
Milligan off the rim. Well, 11 straight field goal attempts, 11 straight misses to begin the second half. Three-point shooting, they're 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. And here's that bucket from Lewis that you were just alluding to.
Yeah, again, off, he slipped the pick and roll, and Pitt a little bit late getting to him, but he's a guy in the scouting report. You really wouldn't know what to do with him based on last year. You wouldn't have him in the scouting report, and he did a good job of slipping that screen and knocking down that 12-footer contested.
I think he's playing with a little more confidence,
Much more. No, absolutely.
Well, Navy has an 11-point lead. They can extend it here. The last time Navy beat an ACC team was when they beat Wake Forest back on December 30th, 1971.
Wow.
Shot clock is at 2. And Doolin pushes off before taking that shot.
Didn't have to do that. He had Wilson Frame on his hip. Well, Carr and Wilson Frame back in the game. Kevin Stallings hoping those guys who kept them going in the first half can get them going again.
Yeah, this is an 11-1 run for Navy to start the second half. It really could be a whole lot worse.
11 points in 8 minutes.
Yeah. Considering that Pitt has not made a field goal in the second half. Wilson Frame curling up top to Carr, stolen away by Norris Fox.
That's a great pass.
Outlet pass to Doolin, who just tripped on the open floor. That's a dangerous trip, too. Well, 11:44 to play in the second half. Navy up by 11 over the Panthers.
Pitt. Navy. It's the Veterans Classic.
Well, it is the Veterans Classic, and David Robinson's head coach when he played here at Navy was Paul Evans. And Paul, who coached here for 6 years before going on to Pitt, was honored at the end of the last timeouts. And those are some of the members of his teams, not just one team, but his teams during his tenure. He'll be honored again tomorrow before the football game here in the Naval Academy.
I know Paul for a long time. He was the head coach at Pitt when I was the head coach at Villanova, my first 2 years at Villanova.
So did you have his number?
We were in many, no, we had some really good teams. We were in a number of Big East meetings together. Terrific coach.
Won 119 games while the head coach here at Navy. Had that guy David Robinson, which really helped. Another missed field goal for the Panthers. This happens a lot of times during the first games of seasons. And a three-pointer is good from Cam Davis.
Freshman's hit
Actually,
2 threes.
I'm sorry, that's a two they've signaled, yep.
I thought you watched his feet.
My eyes were not as clear as earlier tonight. 52-39.
Look how active this defense is now, too.
Wilson Frame for three, and it's no good off the side of the rim. And a foul on the floor. The foul is going to go against Doolin.
It's amazing when you watch a veteran team. I mean, that's a good dribble penetration, but that was not a good closeout. Really way too open. You know, Pitt has the look, and this is what happens to teams that are inexperienced. They have the look of, we can't score, and it's affecting their defense too now. And that's what happens to teams that are inexperienced. Experienced teams who go through droughts, that's an offensive foul.
Yeah, it sure is. Sold well by Tom Lacey.
Experienced teams try not to let their offense, the lack of offense, affect how intense they are in defense. Inexperienced teams don't do that well, and right now Pitt not doing that well.
Luther will check back in for Pitt. (52-39) as we zero in on the halfway point of the second half. Cam Davis just made a three. They sweep it to Doolin off the screen by Wick. Wilson Frame with the steal at midcourt, battling for possession, saved, going out of bounds by Cam Davis. It will be Pitt basketball. I tell you, the midshipmen are really moving.
Oh, they're playing extremely hard. And, you know, Wilson Frame does a good job. He stepped into a passing lane in the first half, too.
By the way, they have adjusted Cam Davis's last field goal.
His first team.
They've adjusted it. We mentioned that we thought it was a three initially, and it looks like it is going down right now as a three. 10.5 to play. Davis to the free throw line. And he misses. Ball's tipped into the hands of Doolin. Well, nothing is falling for the Panthers.
They cannot score from anything.
I mean, they have 1 point in the second half. They would be tied with Navy at the end of the first half the way the score was. It was 39-38.
Don't have a point in the last 7.5 minutes almost.
Incredible. This is a whale of a drought. Shot clock is down under 10. Fox slips it to the left side for Lacey. His jumper is no good. Off the side of the rim. A violation called. So 9:59 to play. John Rothstein, I think Kevin Stallings, who's known for this motion offense, troublesome right now that they don't have a field goal.
Pitt, Tom, and this is a change too for Kevin Stallings, not just from a new conference perspective, but from a recruiting perspective. At Vanderbilt, he was involved with the academic area of recruiting. Now he's going through a larger pool of recruiting. There's still a lot of adjusting going on with Kevin Stallings and Pitt. He called this a second year one compared to last year because it's his new team, new players, Tom.
Well, Stevenson made the first field goal this half for Pitt after he missed one. So they finally have a field goal, and they have their 3rd point of the second half. But there's a lot to be said with making a move, obviously, from a place where he was comfortable, going from one conference to another.
I think it was one of those situations. Kevin did a great job at Vanderbilt, but I think it was time.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those, like Andy Reid is a terrific coach. I think it was time that Philadelphia was time. And Rick Barnes at Texas, he's a great coach, successful guy. It was time. So I think there does come a time where it's just time, and it's got nothing to do with anything else. He's a great coach. He'll win at Pitt. But it'll take a while, and that's not an easy league. And no one, and let's understand this, no one at Pitt has had to rebuild the program in the ACC. They did it in the Big East. This is a whole different area, recruiting-wise. You're going after a different kid. This is a big challenge. There's no doubt.
Well, Anderson just made the layup, and now trying to convert the 3-point play. Is unable to do it, but Lacey comes in to put it back.
That will kill you.
56-41.
Wow.
That's not even, out rebounding your opposition. That's just slipping around your opposition.
That's awful.
Here's Davis off a nice pass from Luther, lays it in.
There's one of the few examples where they weren't looking behind in the matchup zone and somebody snuck in on them.
13-point lead for the Midshipmen, 8:45 to play in the second half. Abdullah against Carr. Anderson swings it to Doolin for 3, and it's no good. But Lacey with another offensive board. He's fouled by Luther.
Those guys are just workers down there. But you're going to see Pitt score on this last possession here. Luther flashes up high, and they have 2 guys facing him, and Doolin is one of the better defensive players in the Patriot League, just got slipped on.
Near steal, Abdul is able to corral it along the sidelines. See the team fouls, Navy with 7, Pitt with only 5. And now Pitt forces the turnover. Good hands by Luther. Carr, outlet pass to Davis. Davis from 16, it's good. Well, maybe 17, we'll give him an extra step or so. 56-45, it's an 11-point game with a hair over 8 minutes to play in the second half.
Well, what Navy has to do is they just got to keep running their stuff, because you can see Pitt getting antsy. That's why that Doolin had a wide open shot there.
Yeah, Doolin's cooled off here in the second half. Well, we've reached another timeout. It's an 11-point lead for Ed DeChellis' Navy Midshipmen. 7:56 to play. 56-45. Navy is on top of Pitt with 7:56 to play in the second half. This is game 2 of the Veterans Classic. It's a college football quadruple header tomorrow featuring Duke versus Army at noon Eastern, followed by SMU, Navy from right down the road here in Annapolis, Tulane, ECU, and then we finish with a big Mountain West showdown as Boise State visits Colorado State. And look who's here. Lap, you want to get your photo taken with Roger Staubach?
Hey, I tell you what, he was pretty good, this guy.
Oh, was he ever. He was at the fair last night where the coaches and the players got a chance to see the superintendent of the Navy, Ted Carter. So Roger is...
He looks good.
Yeah, he does. That man could play some football, couldn't he? Talk about somebody that can win big games and win them at the end.
Yeah. Cowboy legend. If you're a legend for the Cowboys, you're a serious legend.
Well, Ed DeChellis, his team is up by 11. Go back on the defensive here with 7:56 to play in the second half. All right, so if you're Pitt, it's only an 11-point deficit. You've got some time if you can convert some shots and then play a little defense.
Yeah, but you got to be able to crack this defense a little bit better. They have not gotten great looks. And and they really don't have an inside presence to throw the ball to. And that was a guard they threw it to basically in the lane. That time the defense fell asleep.
All right, so they've cut it down to a 9-point game, 56-47. I think what you said before, too, if you're Navy, you got to run some offense here and maybe chew up a little clock. Lacey has it blocked away by Stevenson. So Shamil Stevenson, the freshman. Now Carr, another freshman, leaves it for Luther. Wilson frame right to the basket, 56-49.
All of a sudden, they found two seams in the defense. They got a layup the first time, then a driving layup that time by Frame.
Well, Ed DeChellis realizes that his lead, which was double digits, has been whittled down. It's an 8-0 run for Pittsburgh. And the freshman getting involved.
Well, Shamil Stevenson with a really nice pass in the lane that time and a good cut. And then Frame driving it right through that matchup zone.
Well, the midshipmen and their fans have a lot to cheer about. Up 56-49. This is an 8-0 run, though, by Pitt. Along with Steve Lapis and John Rothstein, I'm Tom McCarthy. It's been a pleasure to be here at the Naval Academy for the Veterans Classic for yet another year. Alabama won Game 1 over Memphis. You know, we talked in Game 1 about your dad serving in the Army. My dad also served in the Army. He passed away this past May, and we found out after he passed away what he did when he was in the Korean conflict, where he was a clerk. Storage clerk, a supply clerk, I should say, and also with the folks in his branch of the Army, they opened an orphanage in South Korea. Is that unbelievable?
That's an unbelievable story.
Yeah, my dad passed away on May 15th, was buried with full military honors, and it was one of the more moving things I think I've ever been a part of. It was just incredible.
And that's why being on a day like today and being here is so special to both of us, because of what our dads did, absolutely.
Yeah, so for all the veterans out there, thank you for all that you have done. And those serving even now, thank you for all you have done. This has been a thrill to be part of all these years at the Veterans Classic. And Navy is trying to win for the first time, but Pitt is not going away quietly. Wilson Crane misses the shot, but Luther's there to slam it home. 56-51. This is now a 10-0 run for the Panthers.
Taking advantage of a lot of mistakes that Navy's making all of a sudden.
Anderson slips it underneath to Lacey, and Lacey has it blocked away by Davis, gets it back, then it's fouled going up by Luther. Well, Pitt has certainly picked up its defense. As you see the steal by Luther, and then he's going to get paid back after the miss by Wilson Frame.
Luther's done a good job.
56-51, and now Lacey to the free throw line. Lacey with 4 points so far tonight. And now it's 5 as he makes that one. Doolin checks in for Cam Davis. Wick checks in for Kiernan. And now the second shot is good. All right, well, that's big, too. I mean, you got to make your free throws if you're both of these teams. Bounce pass to Luther. Davis has played a lot here in the second half for the Panthers. Shot clock was winding down, and the ball was tipped as they tried an entry pass to Stevenson.
That was a terrible pass.
Yeah, not a lot of room there.
A lot of standing around in that possession.
Anderson trying to slip it underneath, and the ball is out of bounds. It'll be Pitt basketball. You mentioned it. You know, Navy's starting to make some mistakes. You know, you get toward the end of these games, you play a lot of minutes. Sometimes there's a mental and physical fatigue.
Yeah, you wonder if they're getting gassed a little bit, because obviously Pitt a little bit stronger, a little bit more athletic. Maybe Navy's getting gassed a little bit.
Yeah, don't forget, there's been a handful of guys that haven't played in the exhibition games for Navy because of a variety of injuries. Boy, Luther's really stepped it up.
He's been really good here in the second half.
58-53. It's back to just a 5-point game.
And they're starting to find the holes in that matchup zone now. Not relying on the three-point shooting. The first half, they shot a lot of threes. Not shooting nearly as many here in the second half.
12-2 run now for the Panthers. Don't forget, they went the first 11 minutes plus without a basket. And Doolin finally does convert. That was a little easier than the threes that he's been missing.
Well, here they showed good patience, reversed the ball a couple of times, and again, bad closeout by Pitt on the perimeter by Davis. Came up with his right foot back instead of up to force him to the sideline. Gave him the middle of the floor.
Free throw was good, so it's back to an 8-point lead. 5:15 to play here in the second half. Navy trying to win here at the Veterans Classic for the first time. They're 0-3 in the previous 3 classics. Last time they beat an ACC team was back in 1971. Is it silly to say that you should chew a little clock here, or you still want to get that best shot?
You have to get good shots. You still have to attack. 30-second shot clock. It's way too early to start. They got to be aggressive like they've been the whole game.
Yeah, I guess sometimes when you do change or deviate, that's where you get into trouble.
You get a lot of trouble.
Doolin for 3. Right corner, it's good.
Now that's a perfect possession. They moved the ball. They weren't holding the ball there. It just so happened they made it 3 with 1 second to go on the shot clock. That's a perfect possession.
Well, this is a 6-0 run now for the Midshipmen. As we wind under 4.5 minutes to play in the second half. Luther in the paint. Luther around Wick. And Luther is fouled going up.
All you can say is they're playing like an experienced team. You know, they look like they were on the ropes, but here's what happens. Pitt double teams there really for no reason, and they make one pass out of that double team. Somebody's got to be open if you're double teaming the ball. That's not a good spot to double team, and they paid for it by giving up a 3.
Well, now Luther last year was 75% for the free throw line. Misses the first one. Kiernan checks back in for Wick. You look down at the Navy bench, there are 21 midshipmen who are dressed for today's ball game. That won't happen during the regular season as often. But Ed DeChellis was saying that this is such a special game that all the guys that are part of the program, they decided to dress.
Probably the most amazing thing in this game is Navy has destroyed Pitt on the glass.
Yeah, it was a 3-point margin at the half, and they've increased it. Kiernan falls away and can't get the shot to go down. It's a little bit of an air ball. Under 4 to play, 10-point lead for the Midshipmen.
I never heard a little bit of an air ball.
Well,
that was a new one.
All right, it was a lot of bit of an air ball.
Trying to be nice on an air ball. I see. I hear you.
There's Luther, hands it off to Wilson Frame, and off the glass, it's good. That's the shot he was trying to get earlier tonight, and he just didn't get as much height. But he's a good player.
You know what, though? They're going to get a book on him because he loves going right.
Pitt lost so much of their scoring from last year. Cameron Johnson, Michael Young, Jamel Artis. I mean, they had a lot of points that they lost. Is there time for the Panthers? There certainly is. They're down 64-56. Well, it's the 20-year anniversary of Navy's last NCAA tournament team. The 97-98 Mids won the Patriot League tournament held here at Alumni Hall. They fell to #1 seed North Carolina, facing off against future pros Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, and our colleague Brendan Haywood. Now there's that banner. Let's revisit our keys to the game. All right, Lapp, were you a good prognosticator?
Well, I don't know. They needed a game from Jonathan Milligan. They've got nothing from the senior point guard. He hardly even played in this game. Transition baskets, didn't get much out of that. Navy, get easy baskets. Points in the paint, 26. And rebound outside of matchups. They have done a matchup zone. They have done a pretty good job on the offensive glass, but more importantly, the defensive glass out of that matchup zone has been really good. They've out-rebounded Pitt by 9 rebounds.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible to think that was going to be that much of an advantage for the Midshipmen. Here's Anderson to the free throw line. And he's able to convert the first one. He'll get a second one. 12 points. Ed DeChellis was telling us today at shoot-around, he wasn't totally sure how Anderson and Abdullah and some of the other guys would gel because, you know, with the exhibition games, Abdullah didn't play, and with some of the practices, he didn't think that they were clicking the way they were at the end of last year.
He wasn't he was a little bit down, I thought, before the at the shoot-around today, because Abdullah, as you said, had been out, and he's such an important guy. Then Anderson was out half of the scrimmage that they had against Towson, so he didn't really see this team together, and they hadn't clicked. Well, guess what? They clicked tonight, and that's what. Like, who cares when they click in practice or in scrimmages? One click here.
Well, they're up by 10. They're 10 of 11 from the free throw line after those makes from Anderson. Wilson frame, left sideline. And it gets it to Carr. Carr for three, off the side of the rim. Lacey with the rebound. That is the 8th rebound for Lacey. Has 6 points, 8 rebounds.
Kevin Stallings, I'd say Mike Stevens is going to. His fuse is getting a little short with Kevin Stallings, I think.
Whistle blows, the foul called on Carr. 20 consecutive opening game wins. Their last loss was 1996 against Illinois State, and that was where Kevin Stallings was at that time. We're going full circle here, Lap.
Yeah.
That, as we mentioned, last time Navy beat an ACC team was 1971. Abdullah does not convert. Luther with the rebound.
Well, they got to push this thing up a little faster now and get into some scoring, get into some pressure.
Boy, Luther was wide open inside, and Carr didn't see him. Maybe he didn't have the angle from where he was. We're at 2.5 to play for the second half, and Navy leads Pitt by 10. Wilson frame for three. Good.
Big basket.
Yeah, it sure was. And a timeout called by Kevin Stallings. 66-59. It's a 7-point game. 2:20 to play.
They've got to get into some kind of pressure. I think Navy has to continue to attack, but not take anything early in the shot clock. If they get something easy, yes.
Well, we mentioned earlier in this half how Bryce Doolin was struggling from outside the arc, but he had a good first half, and he started picking up lately here in the second half.
Well, this guy's been one of the best defensive players in the Patriot League, but he also has been a solid three-point shooter throughout his career. But he's also doing a little bit more, taking the ball to the basket. He's been very, very aggressive offensively, and he's not shooting a great percentage in this game, but I can see them having Sean Anderson and Bryce Doolin as all-league players this year in the Patriot League.
17 points on 5 of 15 from the floor and 3 of 8 from beyond the arc. He of the quantitative economics major here at the Naval Academy.
I think they're going to have a very good year this year in the Patriot League.
I would agree.
Regardless of how this finishes up.
Well, we're heading to the 2-minute mark.
Great
Lacey.
pass.
Kiernan for three, no good. And Stevenson with the rebound.
Little quick.
All right, so a 7-point game. Let's see what Pitt decides to do offensively here. Luther for three. He doesn't need it, but he'll take it.
Yeah, that was quick. I was surprised. I didn't think that was a good shot.
Well, it's down to their last time out now after taking one here. It's 66-62. Well, Pitt is now 9 for its last 13 after starting 1 for 15.
And this was nice. He sets a back screen, and Lacey's late getting back out there. That's another classic example of you set a screen, you get open. They're worried about the cutter, and the screener ends up wide open.
All right, so let's do our game reset. It's a 4-point game. Navy's on top. Each team has 1 timeout left. You going to cherish those timeouts at this point? 1:52 to play?
Well, I mean, certainly if I'm Navy, I'm really cherishing it. If I'm Pitt and Navy scores and I'm down 6 and I score again, I'm going to call that last one probably.
9 team fouls for Pitt. Navy with 8. So the next foul for Pitt will send Navy to the double bonus.
You know what Navy's got to worry about? They've got to worry about getting stuck with the ball and burning it. So they need that 1 timeout.
All right, well, here you go. Here's the full court pressure that you talked about. Although it's man-to-man, so they pull it back a little bit.
Well, they're only down 4 now. They don't have to go crazy. They just need to play solid defense. They don't have to start trapping all over the place. Against this Navy team right now, you need solid man-to-man defense.
Oh, and a foul called against the midshipman. That foul is going to go against Anderson. That's his 3rd.
This is another point of emphasis. This is an illegal screen. That handoff A lot of people are handing the ball off in college basketball now, and it was specific in the film of J.D. Collins, Tom, about dribble handoff screens. That was classic. That was a good call.
Yeah, Mike Roberts was right on it. All right, so the midshipmen up by 4, whistle blows, and the foul called against Navy. That's going to go against Doolin. That's his 3rd, and it's going to send Wilson Frame to the free throw line. It's a 1-and-1 opportunity.
Well, now we're going to see really what kind of a veteran team Navy is. Because they need to come down and really execute on this next possession.
Yeah, let me correct it. It's 2 shots for Wilson Frame, and he misses the first one. All right, if he makes this one, it's still just a 1-possession game with plenty of time on the clock.
Plenty of time. You don't need to do anything crazy. Just play solid defense like you've been doing. Don't trap. The worst thing you can do against this Navy team right now is trap and leave somebody a good shooter open on the weak side. If you're Navy, run your offense hard. Wow, those are 2 big misses.
Yeah, Wilson Frame misses it, so it's a 2-possession game, but still plenty of time left. You can just play regular defense.
Absolutely.
And a hand-checking foul is called on Davis. That is the 5th foul on Davis.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, that's classic. That'll be on the video next year that J.D. Collins sends out.
All right, so Davis is disqualified, as we mentioned. He's out with 6 points.
Did a nice job in the second half.
Yeah, he did. All right, so Davis checks out. And to the free throw line goes Sean Anderson. Anderson last year 66% for the free throw line. Tonight he's 4 of 5. All right, if he makes both of these, it's still just a 2-possession game with 1:21 to play. The 2 possessions are 2 threes.
Well, you know, Pitt just went to the line. Wilson Frame missed 2.
Yep.
And Sean Anderson, their senior, knocks out the first one.
Second shot by Anderson, and it's good. 15 points for the senior. 68-62, 120 and counting to play here in the second half.
You got to think they want to try to get Wilson Frame something.
They freed him up from the left corner for 3. No good off the side of the rim. The rebound by Doolin. 1:05 to play.
I think you need to foul. I think you need to foul right here.
1 minute.
Yeah, because you are losing time as the ball goes out of bounds. And the foul is going to be called on Wilson Frame.
Yeah, I think you need to foul. You're down 6 minutes to go.
Second foul on Wilson Frame. As he and Doolin were jockeying for a spot on the floor.
Yeah, you can't afford, with a minute to go, to let this clock go to 30 seconds down 6.
Doolin makes his 5th free throw of the night. He's 5 for 5, and now it's a 3-possession game.
And what are we seeing so far? The experienced team is going to the foul line and knocking them out.
Second shot, no good. Rebound by Stevenson. Carr looks in, now goes to the corner. Parker Stewart's 3 is no good. 47 seconds left, and now Carr's looking to the sidelines.
You got to foul him.
Yeah, Kevin Stallings isn't saying much. Now to the floor goes Tom Lacey. He and Stevenson and he and a couple of others have been John for a good portion of the night.
They're going to go to the film on this.
They're going to have to because Stevenson threw an elbow.
A freshman. What a big mistake this is. Oh, that is. He's gone. That's a 2.
Yep.
He's gone.
Well, Stevenson and the rest of the Panthers will head over to the sidelines. They'll take a peek at it.
They might not give him a 2 for this, but it's...
I don't know.
It could be a 2.
Yeah, it could be a 2.
Frustration foul there for sure. Kevin
Sutton, the assistant coach for Pitt, chatting with him. So here are the flagrant fouls. So a flagrant to excessive, severe, or extreme contact with an opponent while ball is live. 2 shots, possession, and Stevenson is out. I think they got that right.
Oh, no, quite. And Mike Stevens came up to us in like about 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's not like there was any debate over that. And I said it as soon as I saw it. I said, this is could be a 2.
Yep.
I mean, you were doing nothing there but trying to hurt somebody. You weren't going to play on the ball. You didn't even have the ball. You know what I mean? There's nothing. There's no argument. You took the guy, you chucked him to the ground. He's not even touching the ball. It's a flagrant 2.
All right, so, yeah, Shamil Stevenson is out of his first game of his collegiate career.
It'll be a lesson for him. I mean, why you get frustrated like that? I mean, the game wasn't over yet. You're down 7. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not looking good. You're down 7 with 40 seconds to go. You fouled, people miss, things happen. I mean, but now you're taking yourself completely out of the game. 2 shots and the ball.
Well, and plus, you're more of an offensive threat than Brown is, who's coming in now.
Yeah.
For the Panthers.
Throw that in too, but you know, you just took your team completely out of the game. The game was not over yet. It was not looking good. You know that.
Well, Stevenson has to leave the bench since he's been ejected from this game. I was wondering when the officials would do that.
Not the way you want to start your career. Had a bad game.
All right, so Lacey will go to the line for 2. 2 for 2 from the free throw line tonight. Make it 3 for 3. And they really have converted down the stretch here from the free throw line.
Yes. Well,
they've missed the 1.
Obviously, who's been the more poised team here down the stretch? I think that's pretty evident.
Makes both free throws, and now Pitt with the basketball. 71-62 with 40 seconds to play.
Arguably Ed DeChellis' biggest win.
I would agree with that. We've been mentioning this, the last win versus an ACC team, 1971 against Wake Forest.
That'd be the biggest win for like 12 coaches. Since 1971, Pete Herman, Don DeVoe, Paul Evans. Well, Paul Evans had some with David Robinson.
Yes, he did. Inbounds goes to Abdul, is just dribbling it up top. Marcus Carr is face guarding him.
Billy Lang. We go through a whole litany.
Here's Anderson along the baseline, no good. And now the Panthers with 18 seconds left. Look at another shot, 71-62. Luther just throws it up. Lacey and Anderson battle for the rebound. 8 seconds to play. The Navy midshipmen, the 4th year of the Veterans Classic, and they finally will pick up a victory. They win it 71-62 over the Pitt Panthers. They had been 0-3 before tonight in the Veterans Classic, and they really did put on a Veterans Clinic tonight. They were certainly the more poised team as they win it by 9. This Pitt team's going to be okay, though, as they grow and get more mature. They got some pretty good players.
Well, yeah, they have some guys, but they've got a lot of work. And I think the problem is if you stop Wilson Frame, who's going to score? And Luther, who's going to score the ball? Not a lot of options.
Yeah.
Kevin Stallings going to have a lot of work to do with this team. I think there's potential, but they have some work.
Well, and for the Navy midshipmen, they get a chance to enjoy this because this is a fantastic win, a tournament that Ed DeChellis and the administration here came up with to honor Veterans Day. We've been here with CBS Sports Network all 4 years, and it's the first time that the midshipmen have been able to win the Veterans Classic. 71-62. And now the Navy blue and gold. Well, that certainly feels good. Roger Staubach has heard that song a number of times after winning games at the Naval Academy, but he gets a chance to enjoy it tonight as the men's basketball team wins here in the Veterans Classic as they have defeated the Pitt Panthers 71-62.
No doubt about it, a great win for Ed DeChellis and his program that he's built little by little now has an experienced team, a team that can do some damage in the Patriot League.
Well, Anderson 6 for 7 from the free throw line, 15 points overall. He and Doolin certainly showed some composure at the end for the free throw line along with Lacey, and it's part of the reason why they won, and he is with John Rothstein.
Well, Sean, congratulations on a tremendous victory. What does it mean for you and your teammates to get a win over an ACC team like Pitt?
Thank you. It's a big victory for us. You know, we prepared so hard after last year, losing a Bucknell in the semifinals. So this just shows us that all the long days, the hard workouts, conditioning, that all it paid off in this win tonight.
You did an unbelievable job getting second chances and attacking Pitt on the glass. How much did you think in preparation you could expose that area of their defense?
Yes, sir. Well, it's not even Pitt. We look to do that against every opponent. We're scrappy. We're undersized guys, so we have to look to get those extra plays to help us win, because at the end of the day, we want to outfight and out-tough our opponent.
How much could this type of a victory always be a proponent to do bigger things down the road in the Patriot League?
Oh, yes, sir. It's huge. It gives us a confidence boost coming out. And, you know, this year we felt like this was it. This was it. If we're going to make a statement, we're going to do it this year. So this is a huge win, and hopefully we can carry this over.
Best of luck throughout the rest of the season. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Tom.
All right, John, thank you. Our thanks to Sean Anderson as well. Part of a Navy team that wound up shooting 44% from the floor, but 83% from the free throw line. The final score, it's Navy 71, Pitt 62. For Steve Lapis, John Rothstein, and our entire CBS crew, I'm Tom McCarthy. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. After the break, we'll toss it back to Dana and the gang from here at Alumni Hall with Inside College Basketball. So long, everybody.